What happens when a father's love transcends human reason? Discover the story of the cemetery guard who encountered the extraordinary. Before we begin, I'd like to thank you for your like and your subscription to this channel. Hailing from Tijuana, Mexico, a man dedicated his existence to protection and nighttime vigilance, as he himself used to say. In this profession, it's common to come across peculiar situations, but nothing compares to what he experienced as a caretaker of a cemetery. One night, after the gates had closed for visitors, an elegantly dressed man appeared at the cemetery. The guard, in a cordial manner, attended to him through the bars. The visitor politely introduced himself with his identification, revealing that he was the father of a child who had passed away a week before. He asked for permission to enter and mourn at his son's grave, as he was having difficulty accepting the loss. The guard kindly explained that the cemetery rules did not allow people to enter after 5 p.m. However, the man insisted, assuring that he was a person of good character and financially successful, thanks to his career as an engineer. Besides mourning his son, he had no intention of causing trouble. In the end, the caretaker agreed to his request, asking only that he did not leave trash on the premises and that he left by 5 a.m., an hour before the end of his shift. The visitor faithfully complied with the agreement. A few minutes before 5 in the morning, he bid farewell to the guard and thanked him for his noble gesture. Over the weeks, the engineer began visiting the cemetery more and more frequently, sometimes in his own car, other times by taxi. This began to affect his personal and professional life, and his health began to deteriorate due to emotional strain and alcoholism that gradually consumed him. The cemetery caretaker sometimes watched from a distance as he cried inconsolably at the grave of his beloved son. Despite the friendship that formed between them, the caretaker tried to advise him to move on, as nothing in this world could bring his son back. On one particular night, after 7 months of tending to the cemetery, the engineer arrived at his usual time, around 3 in the morning. As he prepared to carry out his usual routine, he seemed calm and showed no signs of having drunk. He kindly told the guard that he was right and that thanks to persistent advice he had decided to resume his life. He would return home to his wife and job, determined to close that sad chapter of his life. He thanked him for all his good intentions and patience that the guard had shown him and finally left. As soon as the visitor crossed the cemetery gate, the guard continued his round, passing by the grave where so many times he had seen the drunk engineer crying desolately for his son. However, upon reaching this grave, he never imagined what he would find there. The engineer was hugging his son's tombstone. His body was cold and without vital signs, but with an expression of tranquility despite foamy vomit coming out of his mouth. Paramedics estimated that he had been dead for at least an hour. The only explanation that the guard could give was that he probably entered by jumping over some wall of the cemetery. This version he maintained until his last day working at the cemetery. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with those who like supernatural stories.